Hi, and welcome back. In our last video, we saw how simple it was to set the flow restrictor for a proper waste to water ratio. Today, I'll show you a simplified method that can be employed if the production rate is not of importance to you or you do not wish to perform any calculations. Here's how. Take two containers of the exact same size and fill them with water from both the waste and product water lines simultaneously. Now, as soon as the wastewater container is full, immediately stop filling both containers and then observe the product water level. So as we can see here, it's about a third of the way full. That should be okay. If the product water level was closer to half or even more, then you cut the flow restrictor an inch at a time until you can fill the wastewater container before the product water reaches to a third full. And that's it. No need to measure cups or milliliters, just make water. In our manual, we show how to measure the flow rates to calculate the correct ratio and also the gallons per day. However, you must be aware that there are some factors that will affect the performance of your membrane, and this performance can be judged by three values. 1, the production rate, how fast you make good water. 2, the rejection rate, how much bad stuff is taken out. And 3, longevity, how long will the membrane work at its best. The fact is, regardless of what system you have, two membranes of the same gallon per day rating, even the exact same membrane, will differ in performance from one city to the next. Remember in our previous video where I said that in some parts of the country where the water is of lesser hardness, it's possible to run the membrane at a 2-to-1? Well, take the same membrane and run it at a 2-to-1 in an area of hard to very hard water, for instance Arizona, and you may find within a matter of a few months it could look like this. Hence the importance of setting the proper ratio and knowing what's in your water. Let's look at these performance values. Production. How much or how fast will I make water? Well, there are some factors that will affect production of your membrane. Temperature, pressure, and the condition of the membrane surface. Membrane performance is measured at 77 degrees Fahrenheit, so any significant deviation in temperature will affect the production. Warmer water will yield greater production, whereas cooler water slows the production. The technical condition causing this low rate of production is known as the viscosity or stickiness of the water when cold. Pressure is also very important as well, since most membranes are rated at 60 psi. Remember, we are forcing water molecules through the micropores of the thin film composite, so without sufficient pressure, we simply cannot achieve the normal production rate and, in most cases, requires a booster pump. Lastly, a membrane run at a low ratio of wastewater to product water, or one that inherently became plugged due to infrequent replacement of the sediment or carbon filter, will suffer reduced performance due to fewer pores for the water molecules to pass through, reducing its production. Remember this? Secondly, the rejection, another performance value. Better rejection means less work for the DI cartridges, inherently more money in your pocket. Similarly to production, rejection is also hampered by temperature and pressure. Higher temperatures causes the micropores to swell, allowing in addition to pure water a small amount of contaminants as well, so the TDS ends up coming out a little bit higher than it should. So, expect lower rejection rates with warmer water. Lower temperatures do the opposite, restricting even some pure water molecules from passing through, so rejection will be slightly higher, but with slower production. Additionally, chlorine damage to the membrane due to infrequent replacement of the carbon block will damage the surface of the membrane, reducing its rejection capability significantly. So, be certain to replace the pre-filters regularly. And the third performance value, longevity. How long should a membrane last? Well, it's certainly based on proper setup and overall water quality. A low wastewater to good water ratio will reduce the life of a membrane significantly in hard water scenarios, typically over 120 parts per million or 7 grains of hardness. So, ensuring you have 3 to 4 times more waste than good water would be critical here. On the flip side of that, if you have low hardness or a water softener feeding your RO system, then lower ratios like 2-part wastewater to 1-part product water with average membrane life is certainly possible. Here's a tip for you. Be aware of the average chlorine levels in your source water. Elevated levels will deplete the carbon block much quicker, even more so if you make a fair amount of water daily. Test for chlorine on the wastewater line, and any reading of chlorine at all is an indicator that that cartridge needs to be replaced. We developed a simple 3-step process for testing chlorine available as a test kit on our website. I hope this gives you all a better understanding of membranes and performance measurements so you can avoid these curveballs that water tends to send our way.